Most athletes crumble under pressure. Not because they're weak, but because they believe the wrong things about it. They think pressure is bad, that it means they're not ready, that it needs to go away before they can perform their best. But here's the truth. It's not pressure that ruins your performance, it's your perception of it. So in this video, I'm going to break down the 5 lies about pressure that are quietly destroying your game, and what elite athletes know that helps them thrive when everything's on the line. If you're new here, I'm Sam, a mental performance coach to pro athletes. So it's literally my job to help them use pressure as performance fuel. So everything I'm about to share is based on real experiences helping out top athletes. So let's get started. Let's say there's a track athlete named Jake. And Jake's an absolute beast in training. Explosive starts, sharp technique, clocking elite times. But when it comes to race day, nerves hit him hard. His heart races, his legs feel heavy, and he starts doubting himself right before the gun goes. So Jake starts telling himself, I just need to stay calm. If I can get rid of the nerves, I'll finally perform like I do in training. He gets deep into pre-race meditation, breath work, visualization, anything to kill the nerves. And at his next race, he shows up, completely relaxed. But how does the race end up going? Well, honestly, it's all just a bit meh. No drive, no fire. He didn't choke, but he didn't show up as his best self either. He was just flat. Why? Because Jake made the mistake a lot of athletes make. He tried to eliminate pressure completely. Here's the thing, pressure isn't the enemy. In fact, some pressure is essential to perform at your best. This is exactly what the Yerkes-Dodson law shows. That performance and arousal follow a typical bell curve. Too little pressure and you underperform. Too much pressure and you crumble. But at the right level of stress and pressure, that's your peak performance zone. Think of it like pumping up your bike tires. No pressure and they're flat and you're not going anywhere. But too much and they blow out. But at the right amount, that's when you ride smooth, fast, and in control. So the real lie is this, that you need to convince yourself there's no pressure. Because if you do that, you never create the right internal intensity to perform at your best. Elite athletes don't run from pressure. They learn to regulate it, to let it build just enough to fuel them, not freeze them. And if you want a complete structured system of tools and techniques to learn how to best regulate this, then check out my course Composure Amid Chaos using the link below. But for now, let's talk about lie 2. So people love to believe that once you reach a certain level in sport, pressure just disappears. That elite athletes are built different, cold-blooded, untouchable, nerves of steel. But that is a myth. Let me tell you about Zinedine Zidane. You may know him as one of the most composed and elegant footballers of all time. Cool under pressure, always looked like the game was moving in slow motion for him. But even he wasn't immune to pressure. So let me take you back to the opening match of Euro 2004, France v England. Zidane scores a beautiful free kick to make it 1-1 in stoppage time. And moments later, France win a penalty in the 93rd minute. And Zidane steps up to take it. The world is watching, it's his chance to win a game that his team a couple of minutes earlier looked destined to lose. And just 5 seconds before striking the ball, Zidane hunches over and discreetly throws up, right there on the pitch, his body overwhelmed by the pressure of the moment. But here's the crazy part. He straightens, steps up, and buries the penalty. Game 1. As the ball hits the net, he can barely celebrate, still spitting out the remnants of vomit. Let that sink in. One of the calmest, most experienced players in football history was physically sick from pressure and still got the job done. So here's the myth we've busted. The elite are immune to pressure. The truth is, they still feel it, sometimes just as much as anyone else. Despite their best efforts, they might still occasionally show all the signs of stress. Shaking hands, rapid heartbeat, even nausea. And yeah, ideally you want to regulate that response, control your breathing, focus on the process, calm your system. But in some moments, the pressure will override all of that, and you have to perform in spite of it. That's what separates the best. Not that they don't feel pressure, but that they can still execute through it, just like Zidane did. Right, so let's jump straight into lie 3. Pressure is all in your head. You've probably heard this one before. Pressure doesn't exist. You're just choosing to make something out to be bigger than it is. And sure, there's some truth in that. A lot of pressure is created by overthinking, by catastrophizing the outcome, by turning a small moment into something bigger than it really is. But let's be real, not all pressure is imaginary. Sometimes the moment genuinely matters. You've trained and played your butt off all year for the championship game. You've got fans, teammates, family, all counting on you. Or maybe you need to make the cut or get past a certain round in a competition to earn some prize money so that you can just pay your bills. Those aren't fake problems. That's real pressure with real stakes. So the idea that it's all in your head, that's just a lie that can make you feel weak for even feeling it. And that's dangerous. Here's the truth. Yes, pressure is shaped by how you interpret the moment, but it often starts from external reality. A situation that is genuinely high stakes, that there are very real rewards and consequences depending on how you perform. So the key isn't to pretend that the pressure doesn't exist, it's to reframe it. Psychologists call this reappraising stressors. You can appraise pressure as a threat. If I mess this up, it'll all fall apart. Or you can appraise it as a challenge. This is going to be tough, but this is what I've trained for. Same situation, same stakes, but a completely different mindset and a completely different nervous system response. When you view pressure as a threat, your system locks up. You go into that over-aroused state where you panic, your movements become clunky, and you overthink. But when you see it as a challenge, your body mobilizes and it gets ready to perform. You settle into that sweet spot where yes, you are stressed, but to that optimal point where everything sharpens and you can perform with the intensity required to meet the moment in front of you. So no, pressure isn't just in your head, but the way you frame it, that changes everything. So next up, live 4. For this one, let's take a tennis player. We'll call her Jess. Jess is preparing for the biggest tournament of her career, her first ever Grand Slam. She's done everything right in training. Simulated tiebreakers, role-playing high-pressure moments, training with distractions, noise, and consequence-based drills. She's even practiced how to breathe and reset when everything's on the line. She's locked in, confident, and ready. Then comes match day. Everything is going smoothly, and she wins the first set, but a higher-ranked opponent wins the second. And then the final set goes to a tiebreak. Thousands watching, and suddenly she feels it. That quiet hum in her chest, slight tension in her grip, heartbeat rising. And in that moment, a thought creeps in. Wait, why am I feeling this? I trained for this. Am I not ready after all? And that's the lie right there. The lie is thinking that if you feel pressure, it means you're unprepared. But that couldn't be further from the truth. Here's the reality. Even with world-class preparation, even if you've trained for this moment 100 different ways, the real thing will always feel different. Because now the stakes are real. Now it matters. And your body knows it. You can try to simulate and role-play this all you like, but deep down, it's never going to be exactly the same as real life. But that quiet hum of pressure doesn't mean you're unprepared. It just means that you're alive in the moment. The truth is, you can be fully prepared and still feel pressure. They're not opposites, they often go hand in hand. Think of it like this. A flight simulator can prepare a pilot for everything. Turbulence, wind, emergencies. But the first time they fly a real plane with real passengers on board, they're gonna feel something. Not because they're not ready, but because it's real now. Same with performance in sport. The best athletes don't expect no pressure, they expect to feel it. And again, as said before, function anyway. Okay, so next lie. Pressure is something that only shows up right before the big moment. A lot of athletes believe pressure only lives in the tunnel before you walk out, or in the silence before a penalty, or in the seconds before the starter pistol fires. And because of that, they treat pressure like a one-off event, something to survive in the moment. But that's not how pressure actually works. The truth is, pressure builds way before you step into the arena. It's already there on Monday morning, not just game day on Saturday. It's there when you're rehabbing an injury with one eye on the clock. It's there when your spot in the starting lineup feels uncertain. It's there when you realize your contract's running up in 6 months' time. Pressure isn't just a spike, it's a slow, quiet build. Sometimes it's obvious, but most of the time it just lingers beneath the surface. And if you don't deal with it, it compounds until one day it overwhelms you and you're left wondering where it all came from. Think about it like high blood pressure. Most people don't know that they have it. They go about their everyday life, not looking after themselves in terms of handling stress, eating well, and sleeping enough. But it's there, constant, invisible, and eventually that high blood pressure leads to a heart attack. Not because of one bad meal or one stressful day, but because of what was quietly building beneath the surface the entire time. And the same applies to athletes. That shaky performance in a big moment. It often has nothing to do with that one situation. It's the result of unprocessed pressure that's been piling up for days, weeks, sometimes even months. So if you want to perform consistently, if you want to be mentally sharp and emotionally stable when it matters most, you have to learn how to manage pressure before it becomes overwhelming. And that starts with small habits. Things like a 5-minute daily check-in with yourself, or speaking honestly with your coach or teammates about how you're really feeling. Taking moments to mentally reset instead of always pushing through. And generally learning to offload stress, not just bottle it up and hope it disappears. Because pressure doesn't just wait for kickoff. It's with you in the build-up. It's with you when no one's watching. And if you want to be elite, managing that pressure has to become part of your daily game plan. So no, pressure isn't a moment, it's a pattern. And the best athletes learn to break that pattern long before it breaks them.